Listen, today's call to coach, now what, is going to shift the way you see yourself as a coach. Listen, I have a question for you. Have you taken the time to develop into the person that God created you to be so that you can effectively and efficiently be the solution to the problem that He called you to solve? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Call to Coach. Now what? I am your vision coach and leadership development trainer, Latoya Early, here to help develop leaders and coaches in your purpose so that you can increase performance, generate profit, and truly impact people. Today, I want to talk about the number one reason your coaching business will struggle. I've been in the coaching industry now for about 13 years, and I feel like I've gone through so many different methods and so many different programs and systems and trainings and development stages of development in my business. And something really stood out to me. Something really stood out to me and really showed me one of the major issues that many of us coaches struggle with in our business. Now, I want to tell you what I'm going to share with you today, and I'm going to be looking because I have prepared notes for this today. One thing that what I'm going to share with you today may ruffle some feathers. Okay, it's going to make you a little uncomfortable, but I do hope that you take the time to to develop. You take the time to hear me. You take the time to apply what I'm sharing with you to your coaching business. Listen, the number one reason coaches struggle, the number one reason coaches fail in their coaching business is because you spend so much time trying to sell the solution that you're not being the solution. What do I mean by that? When we think about the time it takes to grow, build, and develop our coaching business, we spend so much time on the external factors. We spend a lot of time on developing the offer. We spend a lot of time on making sure that the price point is correct. We spend a lot of time developing the systems. And while all of those things are important, because you want to make sure, especially as a kingdom coach, that you are building a business that has systems and is built on a foundation of excellence. But one thing that we tend to put on the back burner, or we tend to do as a secondary chore, is work on self. My question for you today is, have you become the solution instead of only selling the solution? Are you living the life that you are packaging in your offer to the people that you are assigned to serve? When we are in this coaching space, we can spend a lot of time trying to build the business, right? And don't get me wrong, that is a very important factor. But the most important factor is building self. Are you becoming the person? Are you becoming the solution? Are you doing the internal work that is required of you? Something that has just been so profound for me that I've really been meditating on is all work works, right? That term has come from one of my favorite online mentors, Myron Golden. He talks about how all work works. And sometimes we get so consumed that we don't recognize that sometimes the success or the outcome that we are striving for isn't working as quickly as we desire for them to work because we're not doing the work. We're doing the external things. We're building the business. We're creating the images. We have the landing page. We're doing the the sales page. We have the scheduling link. We have the offer. We have the price. We have the way that our client is going to pay us for our services. But the question is, have you done the internal work so that you can be the solution and not just sell the solution? There's so many moving factors in who we are as coaches, right? And something that is so important to me is living what I teach. One thing that has caused or has allowed me to be successful in my business is that as I teach and train, I yield myself to God so that He can teach and train through me. This past Monday, we did a phenomenal live coaching session. If you missed it, make sure you go check out our coach, the Coach My Life live event that we did earlier this week, where I coached Purpose Coach Kelly McLean live, right? And so we went through the coaching, and I was able to help her really expand her vision in certain areas, and we were able to expand the message in certain areas, and it was a really powerful coaching session. But the next day, I sent her an audio message, and I said, your coaching session, while I was the coach, it blessed me. And here's why it blessed me. Because when I sit before clients, I always ask God to decrease me that He may increase. That this moment is not just for the client, but it's for me as well. Lord, show me what I need to learn. Show me what I need to do. Show me how I can better improve myself so that I can be of a greater impact to the clients and to the people that you've assigned me to. Why did this session bless me so much? Because as she talked about her role as a purpose coach, I heard her live the solution that she now packaged and offers in her coaching. I heard her living out. We've been talking about mastering your mission, master your message, and you can monetize anything. Sitting in that coaching session allowed me to hear her master her mission in a way that it evokes success in all areas of her life. Now, here's why this is so important for coaches. If you are just getting started, if you are growing, if you are well established, here's what I want to encourage you to do. Take the time to become the solution before you start to sell the solution. And let me say this, even as you start to sell the solution, because I've been selling the solution for 13 years, right? I've been packaging my coaching, my leadership development training, helping others identify and align purpose so that they can increase performance, generate profit, and impact people. Well, over the 13 years that I've been selling this solution, I've been intentionally applying this solution to my life so that I can become the solution. The more you become the solution, the more you take the time to develop self, the more that you take the time to develop the strategies within your personal life that you are selling through your professional business, the more clear your messaging is going to come, and the easier it's going to be to share the information and transform and create a space of transformation. Keep in mind, as kingdom coaches, it is our job to be the bridge. We are the bridge between the struggle and the savior. But if you are not walking the bridge, if you are not developing as you walk the bridge, if you are not taking the time to implement the strategies that you are teaching to other people, mastering the strategy that you are teaching to other people, you will find struggle in your business. Here's how I know. I only teach what I've experienced. I find it challenging to try to teach something that I have not lived, because I never want to be, I never want to fall into the space where I'm chasing popularity or profit over purpose. And I've done it before. I've fallen into the systems and the strategies of how, the world or the industry tells me how to run my coaching business. And it wasn't until the moment that I said, my business, or I decided within me, let me say that, God gave me this business. God gave me the idea for this business. God gave me the gifts for this business. God has given me the means to run and operate this business. When I'm coaching, I lean on him for the strategy and the insight to serve the client that he set before me. So why aren't I seeking him for the strategies on how to grow the business? We seek industry standard strategies to build a kingdom business. Well, the moment in my business that I said, you know what, I'm going to stop seeking the industry standards and I'm going to seek ye first the kingdom. I'm going to seek the Lord thy God who assigned me to this business for strategy and growth. It's when I was able to not only show up and be authentic in my messaging, but I was able to really exude my core value and beliefs in what I do. What has this done? This has created meaningful connections, meaningful collaborations. This has allowed me to create genuine relationships. And now I'm able to exchange the solution that I offer to the problem without guilt. I have no no fear in being confident in what I'm able to deliver. Why? Because not only have I sought out the kingdom for strategy, but I am living the solution. Now, is it always easy? No. Listen, I have my seasons. I've had seasons of depression. Yes, God has gracefully delivered me from depression, right? But sometimes the enemy may come in and he'll whisper, and I will say this, he will whisper sweet nothings in my ear, and he would try to convince me, that what I'm doing is not necessary, it's not needed. No one's going to pay for that. No one wants to pay for transformation. No one wants to grow. Everyone only wants the results. They don't want the process. And these are all the things that God has called me to. And so being in those, or let me see, having those experiences used to set me back, right? It used to make me feel defeated. But then James 1:2 tells me to do what? Count it all joy. When the trials come, it is to test and to build my faith in the vision that God has given me. So many of us have a hard time and we struggle in business because we look at all of the trials and all of the challenges that we're experiencing as a sign to stop, when it's really an indication to go as fast as you can, to push through. I was telling my boys earlier today, I've been working out every day, Monday through Friday. I think I'm gonna throw in Saturdays and start running on Saturday mornings. But I've been doing this exercise and I've been working on me, right? And the question has been, how much weight do you want to lose, Latoya? And I'm like, I don't really know. I've never had a flat stomach, so let's keep going until we get there. Like, let's keep going until, I don't know, we get to wherever we want to be or wherever God has for me to be. But something that blessed me this morning while I was running, I used to, I will run and walk, right? I really do enjoy running, but of course you got to build the endurance. You got to get yourself together. So what I would do is I will walk, then run, right? Then I switched it up a little bit, and then I will run and then walk. And so in my mind, I would set markers. I would say, okay, when I get to here, I'll walk. When I get to here. And so every day I will stretch the marker. So one day it might have been the tree. The next day it might have been the gate, right? So I would change the markers. And what happened, it was such an amazing moment for me. And I know that some of you may be like, Latoya, you be being extra, right? But here's the thing. What I realized about me is it wasn't that my body was getting used to running, right? Don't get me wrong. I can run a little longer without getting tired, but I was still getting tired. I was still being exhausted. I was still being overworked. My heart rate was still high. I was sweating profusely, all the things. So my body didn't adjust to the running, but my mind did. And so every time in my mind, I will set the marker further. My mind decided that I'm going to get to that point, whether or not I breathe hard, whether or not I'm tired, I'm going to reach that next marker. Here's what that did for me. What I realized is that our mind is what tells us to keep going or to stop. So I told the boys earlier today, I said, listen, I said, my son, he's playing football and he's playing a running back. He's playing a new position. He's like, Mom, that means I'm going to be running the ball. I'm so nervous. And I said, listen, it's okay to be nervous. It's okay. It's a natural, an emotion that God gave us. It's natural. It's okay to be nervous. What that's doing is just alerting your brain that something new is getting ready to happen. Now, either you can do one of two things. You can allow that emotion to push you forward, or you can allow that emotion to push you backwards. You have to decide. But understand that you have to work through the emotion so that you recognize that when that emotion reappears, that you can conquer it. Why? Because in the word, it tells us that we are more than conquerors. What am I sharing with you? If you are in the coaching space, whether or not you're just getting started, whether or not you're in a space where you want to grow, you want to develop, but you don't know what to do. You don't know why it isn't working. Maybe you're established and you're saying, Latoya, I feel like I hit a ceiling, because I've been there. I've been in all three of those seasons where I've just gotten started and have no direction. I don't know what to do. I've been in a season where I've been growing and I've been seeing some success, but it had become kind of mundane. It had kind of, I felt like I had, kind of hit a wall. I've seen success where it's like, okay, I need to continue to grow and continue to be consistent in this success, but I feel like I'm missing something. And something that stood out to me as I sit back and I look at those different seasons is that in every season, I continue to push myself to live the solution that I'm offering to the people. Understanding that when the enemy attacks my thoughts, when he attempts to attack my thoughts, let me change my word. When the enemy tries to distract where I'm going, when my thoughts try to tell me that I can't do it, when social media doesn't show up the way that I think or that I feel that it should, when I have all of these distractions coming at me, I use those moments as a time to do what? Master my mission. If I can push through this, then I have the evidence to provide to my client that so can they. Something that I've learned is that when we talk about the scripture, faith without works is dead. We think about that we're working to show God that we believe. Here's something that I learned. That we're not working to show God that we believe, because God judges the intent of our heart. So he knows. We're working to be the evidence to the people that faith works, that work works. And if you continue to do the work, and what is the work that's required of you as a coach? If you are a confidence coach and you find yourself constantly being attacked in your confidence, you got to push through it. You got to work through it, because your outcome is the evidence to your client that work works. Are you developing yourself to be the solution, or are you only trying to sell the solution? Are you building your business chasing profit and popularity over purpose? Are you trying to be the solution to someone else's problem based off of something that you've researched, based off of something that you've studied? Or are you being the solution to someone's problem based off of the experiences and the evidence that you've gained out of a strategy that you've applied, and now you are 100% sure that you have the solution to the problem? Here's where we struggle as believers and as coaches, is we don't value the value. Well, we don't value the value because we don't allow the work to work in us deep enough for the solution to become valuable. So you're having a hard time in your business, and you're having a hard time designing and developing the message because you haven't yet worked through some of the solutions or some of the problems so that you can value the strategy. See, the reason why I was talking to one of my clients, and I was telling her, I said, when I first started dating, I never really established a standard. I didn't say, well, and I see, and I guess, well, we didn't have social media back when I started dating, but you know how you'll see a woman and she has this list. He has to do this, and he has to be this, and he has to, all these things. I never had that, right? I never had a standard. I never established a standard. And the reason is because I did everything myself. If I pay my own bills, I didn't require a man to do that because my mother showed me how to do it myself. And my mother didn't require anybody to do anything for her. She did everything herself. So I never required anybody to show me anything. I just kind of gave you, because I believe in people. I just kind of gave them the opportunity and then saw what they were able to bring, and whether or not I enjoyed it or not, then that's, as you can see, I've been happily married for 12 years and we got forever to go. But what I'm saying is that there was never a standard established. And so now in business, we tend to do the same thing. We're not establishing a standard. What is that standard? I refuse to enter into certain contracts with clients if they do not meet my standard. Why? Because I value my value. But I didn't always value my value. I was aware of my value. I knew that I had value. I believed that it was there, and I knew that God had given me something special, but I didn't value it. Why? Because I had to dig a little deeper to master the strategy to the solution, or to the problem that I was called to be the solution for. So I hadn't done enough work. I hadn't gone through enough experience to believe that I truly have the solution. Why? Not out of arrogance, not out of being boastful, but genuinely because God has allowed me to experience certain things so that he can build my endurance, so that he can build my confidence, so that he can build my faith, so that when it's time for me to sit before a client and say, listen, let me help design a strategy. Let me help you build the bridge between the struggle and the savior so that you can get to the promise and the results and the outcome that you desire. I can sit with confidence and boldness. Now, we don't have that level of technique sometimes because we're not doing the work. My question for you is, have you developed into the person God created you to be, to offer a solution, an efficient and effective solution to the problem he assigned you to solve? Have you developed yourself? As a kingdom coach, we have to become what we teach. If you're going to if you're going to be a purpose coach in all areas of your life, you have to maximize purpose. You have to be what you're teaching. As I shared earlier, the coach that we coached live, she talked about being a purpose coach. And so I asked her, has she implemented purpose coaching in her and her husband's ministry, Hope Ambassadors? And she was like, we haven't. And I said, think about this. You are an educated woman. You didn't went to college. You did all the things. And the world has told us that if you've gone and you've done all of these things, you need to be this woman of power and prestige and independency, and go out there and climb the corporate ladder and all the things, right? Now, understand this. This is not to diminish women who are out there making moves, because every person has a purpose. And if God had given us all the same assignments and all the same gifts, then some of us will not be relevant. But all of us are relevant. And so my question for her was, have you implemented purpose in helping wives identify their purpose? Have you implemented purpose in helping moms identify their purpose in their household or with their children? And so she's been able to live out those experiences with her children, with her husband, in her household, in her marriage. And she's like, I never thought about it that way. When you're living the solution, the message becomes easier. When you're mastering the mission, when you're identifying the roadblocks, when you're identifying the challenges, and you are pushing through those challenges. Again, if you're saying, Latoya, I believe that God has called me to be a transformation coach, a freedom coach, a beauty coach, what other type of coach? We have a forgiveness coach, a self coach, whatever problem God has assigned you to be a solution for. Have you developed yourself in that area? The Bible says, he that has an ear to hear, let him hear. When I tell you that God has really been transforming me on the way that I look at the ideal client, make sure you go check out the training that I did on how your dream client could really be a nightmare. God has really been developing me about the ideal client and how we are taught in the industry how to define the avatar, how to define the ideal client. He said, stop trying to create this checklist of who you're going after and develop yourself. And he who has an ear to hear will hear. Make the message visible. Make the message easy to access. And those who are called to your voice will hear you. But the more that you master the mission, the more that you master the assignment, the clearer the message will become. The more I'm able to use you. When you understand this, we are in a time that everyone wants instant gratification. Yes, the avatar limits you 100%. That was such a good point. We are in a time in the time where everyone wants instant gratification, right? It's like, I want overnight success. I remember seeing a meme many years ago that said I became an overnight success in 10 years. And I was like, oh my God, Lord, is it going to take me 10 years? Like, but when you think about some of the stories in the Bible, I laugh because I'm like, Lord, please don't take 400 years before I'm able to reach, right? But of course, our timing and God's timing is not the same. All those things. And those are just, some humorous moments that I have. But when I think about the time that I've been in this coaching space and how God has developed me and transformed me, I am not the Latoya that I was in high school. I am not the Latoya that I was in my 20s. I'm not the Latoya that I was in my early 30s. I pray that I'm not the Latoya that I was yesterday. Why? Because every day I am looking for ways to be the solution. I am looking for ways to master the message, not just so that I can be better, but so that I can show up before the people that God assigned me to with authenticity. I can show up with true transformation. I can tell you how it felt when no one was attending my events. I can tell you how it felt when I sold my first 8-week program for $125 and I owed people more than what I made. I can tell people how depressing it was to know that God has called you to something, but you have no idea of how to get to where he has shown you. I can tell people how it feels to be married and wanting to pursue and be everything that God has called you to become. But you're trying to figure out, how do I be a wife and an entrepreneur and a business owner and a dreamer? How do I be a mom and a dreamer? How do I manage my household and help my children, be what my husband needs and still show up for me? How do I do all of these things? Well, the only reason why I'm able to support and serve other coaches in those areas is because God allowed me to go through those things to build my endurance. He showed me that, Latoya, the only way that you can be who I need you to be for the people that I've assigned to you is if you endure. you have to become. Are you developing? You're wondering, why aren't I seeing the success in my business that I want to see? And my question is, are you developing, and have you become who God needs you to be before the success becomes physical? One of the systems that we teach, I have a 12-step, 6-figure success system. I had a client, not necessarily, well, yeah, okay, a client reach out to me, and she said, oh my God, she bought the book bundle, the 6-figure book bundle, and she was like, this is blessing me. And I was like, oh yes, can I share your testimony? So I'll be sharing that soon. But what I enjoyed about that moment is that so many people are trying to get 6 figures in their business that they're not willing to submit to the process that is required of you to become the person that you need to become before you hit the 6 figures. Because here's the thing, I did this. What you'll tend to do is that you'll hit those 6 figures in your business and you'll think that you did it. And then you won't recognize that it was because of what God did in you that prepared you and built you and established you to be able to sustain. Now, what the area that we're focusing on now is that process. What does that process look like? Are you committed to the process? Are you developing yourself in the process? Because the 6 figures, listen, that's the overflow. The money, the income that you're able to generate in your business is the overflow. The value is the transformation of self. I did not see that. I thought that, don't get me wrong, when I first started this business, I was building the business to be a solution, 100%, right? But at a time, I was focused on getting money out of the business. I need profit. I need to pay bills. And so I was more so consumed about the profit that I was earning from the solution than looking at the process and how God developed me to become the solution. My mindset and how I think and how I see things, I used to, it was a good thing, but I didn't know that was the reward. That was the reward. That was the freedom. The money, the profit, the income, the opportunities, that's all overflow. That's surplus. He's like, okay, now you're ready to stand on stages. Now you're ready to exchange the solution as a service for profit. Now you're ready. Why? Because you're doing the work. Are you becoming the solution, or are you only trying to sell the solution? Are you developing yourself and working on the mindset? What is the best part about being a coach? And sometimes it's a struggle because I'm a coach. It's like I love coaching, so I be want to coach everybody to do everything. Like that's just my nature, right? I've just fallen in love with helping people and seeing people see the outcome. I've fallen in love with helping people break free from the strongholds and the bondage that they were in their thinking and in their behavior that was preventing them from getting to the outcome that God has shown them, right? I've fallen in love with that. But in that process of falling in love and serving people, I've fallen in love with developing myself, because I never want to be someone else's stumbling block. I never want to be the reason why someone is harboring unforgiveness. I never want to be the reason that someone is harboring resentment or bitterness. I never want to be the reason that someone else is struggling in their thinking. I never want to be the reason. So I want to do the work within me so that my light can so shine among men. And so that you can see that the work that I'm applying to my faith is the evidence that if you believe, that if you believe in what God has shown you and you do the work and you develop and you prune daily. The Bible tells us to mortify the flesh daily. Why? Because we know that the flesh is strong. But you cannot tell me that if you are a believer that the Holy Spirit that lives in you is not stronger. Are you developing yourself to be the solution? that God created you to be so that you can efficiently and effectively deliver strategy to the people that God has assigned to the problem, or to the are you building yourself and developing yourself in the areas that God to be the solution to the problem that God assigned you to. I couldn't get my words out. Are you developing yourself? Are you living out the solution? Because he assigned you to a problem. He assigned all of us to a problem. The question is, are we willing to work on ourselves, to submit ourselves, to yield ourselves to the process so that God can do his perfect work in us, so that we can then go and be the solution to the same problem that someone else is experiencing and be the evidence that the strategy that we have works. If you are in a place where you are ready to become, you want to be the solution, you want to create massive impact and transformation for your client. Not only do you want to sell the solution, but you want to be the solution. You want to develop in the area that God has assigned you to, so that you too can master your mission, master your message, and monetize the gift that he's given you through coaching. Then I encourage you to register for our Message Mastery online course. Make sure you check the link in the comments. Get into the program. Let's work on your mission. Let's get clarity of what the mission is in your coaching business. What is your mission? What problem do you solve? Let's identify that so that not only you can work on it within you, but you can start to develop it so that it can be impactful and valuable to the person that also needs it. Let's learn how to get clarity in your message. The more clarity you have in your mission, the more clarity you'll have in your message, and it becomes easier for you to share. No, we're not going to use the standard. We're not going to go by the standards of the industry and what the world is saying. We're going to do this the way God showed us. And how he has shown it to us is in his word. Click the link in the caption. Make sure you join us. If you have not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you click the subscription button, the subscription button. Make sure you hit the notification button, comment, engage. Let's serve and support people through the solutions that God has set inside of us. Let's serve them together. Thank you guys so much for rocking out with me today for Call to Coach. Now what? I hope that this message, I know that this message has shifted the way you see how you show up as a coach. You're a kingdom coach. He assigned it to you. But do you truly value the value of the solution that he's placed inside of you? Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.